Have you ever just liked two different styles of games that were just complete opposites from one another? And then one day you just started thinking while playing them, what if the mechanics of these games were mixed together? How would that feel? Well, I asked myself that kind of question, and then I decided, I think I'll try it. So I started thinking about the different elements in each game I liked and why I thought they were fun. What about a combat system from a game like Lost Ark, Dragalia Lost, or Final Fantasy XIV? What about an expressive style of character design where people could build a character they liked, like in a game like Dungeons and Dragons, or a roguelike game, or like even a deck building card game? I loved game design, so these kind of thoughts pondered me a bit. I was going through my mind and I had some ideas. And I was thinking, well, you'll never know if it works if I don't try and make it myself. So I popped open the Unity engine and I started to get some work on some basics for the game. So the first question I needed to ask myself was, what kind of game did I even want to make? I wanted an action RPG style of combat with a card game style for decision making and deck building. And I wanted more of a puzzle based boss design where it's not how fast you can react, but more observing patterns and reacting accordingly. I have a few ideas for different kind of game modes I'm interested in trying this design with, such as a roguelike or a puzzle solving game. But for now, I wanted to try tackling something basic, like a boss rush mode, to see if the game is fun and how it really feels to play. Ideally, I want the game to be something simple to pick up and understand, but have complexity for people who want to put work and effort into mastering it. I want to attempt to take qualities from both actions and card games and see if I can get a really good feel to play. Now, as a warning to everyone, I will be using assets from the Unity Asset Store for this project, at least initially. For now, my goal is just to get the game into a playable state as quickly as possible so I can see how fun the idea really feels to me. In the future, if I like it enough, I'd probably try and see if I can get more custom assets for the project, but for now I'm just going to use what I have available to me. With that warning out of the way, let's get started. So I created an arena in Unity and gave the player the ability to do some basic attacks with left click, charge attacks when I hold the attack button, a dash with right click, and use skills with 1, 2, 3, 4. The player's skills will take some of the blue mana bar and it will empty the card slot in the hand that the skill was used from. After delay, the next card in the deck will be drawn and will replace the card that was used in that slot. I made some basic boss fights just to try out how the combat felt and see how I really felt about it. I'll have some videos of that playing in the background while I talk a little bit more about some of the game mechanics. So, when I say deck, what do I mean? It looks like your standard RPG hotbar. Well, each character can have a 20 card deck, and each card in your deck corresponds to a fantasy RPG skill your player can use in combat. These cards come in 6 different colors and are going to be aligned with your standard fantasy types of combat, such as magic, healing, or melee. The amount of each color in your deck will determine what your player's stats look like and define your playstyle. I want players to be able to mix and match different colors and get a playstyle that works for them and is more personalized. Say you want to take some knight and healing cards and make a holy paladin of the light, go for it. Say you want to just take a bit of everything and be more of a jack of all trades, you're also free to do that. Players will get to stack their decks and choose the order the cards will be drawn at the start of a fight. Once you've exhausted all the cards in your deck, your discard will be shuffled back into your deck at random and can be drawn again. Many concepts that apply to card games, such as drawing through your deck and managing your mana to play cards, will be felt in the combat system for players familiar with card games. But for players more used to an action style of game, it won't feel like they're playing a slower paced card game. Aside from the player's deck, the other customization I want players to be able to choose is their weapon. An example, a sword for a more balanced playstyle, a dagger for a faster paced playstyle, or a bow for a more ranged playstyle. Aside from the player's deck and weapon, however, I don't really want to add much more. I think simplicity is king here, and there will already be a learning curve by the nature of it being a card game. Just choose the skills and the weapon you want, and you're all set. As players defeat bosses and do challenges, they will earn gold to unlock new cards. I want an experience for players kind of like a Monster Hunter fight, where no matter if you're playing solo or with friends, you won't feel locked out of doing a boss, and by clearing the bosses, you'll be able to earn new cards and customize your character to be able to fight more bosses. For now, this is the main concept I have worked on so far. I wanted to start doing devlogs just as a way to keep track of my own progress. I know I didn't really go over every mechanic I've worked on so far in this devlog. For this video, I kind of want to just lay out the idea and kind of talk about it a bit. For the next video in the series, I will probably do a more step-by-step recap on everything I've added so far and go into a bit more detail on each mechanic. If any of this sounds interesting, make sure you subscribe to not miss anything. If you have any ideas or questions, make sure to leave them in the comments below. If you have any friends you think would be interested in this kind of idea, let them know. The more feedback I'm able to get, the better I'll be able to make the game. My goal for this project is to end up with something playable, maybe put out a playable demo with what I have so far in the future. With that said, thank you all for watching, and I hope you all have a good day.